I come to you today with an invitation to consider participating in this year's Employees Giving Back campaign. I believe in the members of our community that have incredible potential, but for whatever reason, they have some setbacks in their lives right now.
I look forward to the Employee Giving campaign every year because I believe in the power of giving and the power of philanthropy to positively change people's lives, not just today, but every day.
I love having the privilege and the opportunity to give to our students. I know that I'm making a difference in the lives of our St. Philip's College students.
Giving back to our community and our students, it matters to me because it brings back the light that was once dim. Like the sun shines today, it gives them hope.
I love helping my students in the classroom succeed academically. And through giving to the campaign, I can help them with scholarships and with food and with other needs.
I give to ensure that a flat tire, a missing lunch, and the cost of childcare don't derail our students from pursuing their dreams. I give to ensure that every student has equitable access to student success, persistence, and completion.
Giving back matters to me because it's not only aimed at supporting the greater good, it provides tremendous benefits to our students and the community who we serve. There's a power in giving back, and I'm humbled that I'm able to be a part of that, as we have the power to better the lives of others, even if it's minimal.
The reason I give is because it makes me feel good to help others. Philanthropy is a choice, and it needs to mean something to you. So when you consider your own giving, think about what's important to you and then act on that. That's my personal philosophy.
I love giving during the Employee Giving campaign because I know my contribution helps to empower the lives of our students.
None of us can do everything, but all of us can do something. Don't give until it hurts. Give until it feels good. There's no feeling better than helping someone else.
I love to give because it makes a real difference for our students.
Giving back to the students, back to the community just means so much to me because everybody deserves the opportunity to keep learning, to get educated. Learning is a treasure that will follow you everywhere.
When you see in real time the impact that the added financial support is providing, you know with 100% certainty that you are launching dreams, careers, and a goal that may have been unimaginable, but now it is a total reality.
Whatever gift, there definitely will be put to good use. So I encourage you to consider your personal budget, to consider that it can even be withdrawn from your payroll checks every 2 weeks. And know that whatever amounts you give, there is no amount that's too small if it comes from the heart.
Welcome to our very first virtual Employee Giving Back campaign kickoff. Thank you for joining in, and wow, what a great slideshow presentation, as well as that video testimonial. Our campaign this year runs from today, September 9th through October 9th, and for those early birds who began on August 17th, thank you. We appreciate all the employees who have pledged so far. You have set us up and started us off great this year. And I'd also really want to give a special shout out to the district IT folks who have simplified the pledge process. They've made it so easy through their innovation. We can now go into our ACES account, go into your employee tab, and click on the Employee Giving Back logo. And you're in, folks. It's that easy. I also would like to recognize the Alamo colleges on a huge accomplishment. Last year, we were recognized by the United Way as a majority giving organization, and we could not have achieved this accolade without your participation. If you're wondering, what is a majority giving organization? Well, basically it means that 50% of our Alamo College employees participated in the annual fundraising campaign. Remember, it's not so much about the amount that was given, but more importantly, that we have given back to the community, which makes us all superheroes.
Good morning. I'm Joe Alden, the Vice Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Alamo Colleges District. Along with our Chairman Marcelo Casillas and all of our board members, we want to thank you for this Giving Back program initiated by Dr. Garcia. These are tough times, and these monies go toward the scholarships of our students. Many of our students are unable to complete. They are unable to stay in school without these monies and receiving their associate's degrees and moving forward to getting a bachelor's degree, which is our total objective here at the Alamo Colleges. How do we assist? How do we facilitate? How do we serve our students to receiving their associate's degrees and moving forward to getting their bachelor's degrees? This is vitally important for their future jobs and those in workforce as well. This is what this program is about. So we're counting on you as employees to help serve these students. We are doing well here at the Alamo Community Colleges District. We are actually hiring people. So many of you have jobs, and hopefully with your heart and your contribution, we can move some of our students to afford greater success in their lives.
I'm going to introduce our Chancellor, Dr. Mike Flores, who's going to give us our starting words, and then we'll hear from Mr. Brad Barron and a few others. So take it away, Dr. Flores.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. Just want to thank everybody for being on our virtual kickoff, as Dr. Garcia mentioned, right? Our inaugural virtual kickoff in particular. I think this is so very important that all of us are here together to be able to spend time. A couple of points that I think are so very important, and Dennis Gettinger mentioned it, right? You want to give for giving. And so I think that's super critical to be able to do so. If we look at what's occurred in particular since March within our community, the challenges that many of our neighbors and in particular our students have confronted, and how significant and important it is to help them out, to lend a hand. And I think that's what United Way is all about. Most importantly, that's what Employees Giving Back is all about. If we look at the success that we've had during this past year in particular, we had a 55% participation rate, which is a record participation rate. And for the first time ever, a majority of our colleagues contributed to the Employees Giving Back campaign. Our goal for this year, because we understand it's a challenging period, is to continue to be a majority donor workplace. So that is our goal, to continue to have 55% or a majority of our colleagues, faculty and staff working together, continue to give. If we look at what it's all about, I would go to the affirming photos and the affirming testimonials of what it means to work at Alamo Colleges and what it means to be part of a caring and giving community that supports each and every one of our students. Perhaps that's for a specific scholarship. Most importantly, it could be for Alamo Promise, or it could even be for our United Way helpline, which is based at San Antonio College physically, but actually helps all 65,000 of our students to be able to know and connect with resources throughout our community. And that is an investment of actually $750,000 that's funded from United Way. And that's a part of this Employees Giving Back campaign. So I know that 2020 has been an extraordinary year for so many different reasons for all of us. COVID-19 is only one part. And I think that that's illustrated even further the gaps and challenges that may exist within our community. But if we know anything about San Antonio, if we know anything about our families and friends, they're resilient. And our students, most importantly, are resilient. And when provided with the right supports, they're gonna be successful and they're gonna cross the finish line. So I wanna thank each and every one of you for being here with us this afternoon for a virtual launch. I wanna thank Dr. Garcia for stepping up once again to lead our Employees Giving Back campaign district-wide for working with Richard Farias and working with the Alamo College's foundation so that we can ensure that we have a successful campaign. And we are one major organization that's part of the collective fabric of our community. And so we're fortunate to be joined on this virtual launch this afternoon by Mr. Brad Barron, who is the CEO of NuStar, and he's had a long-term tenure with the company as well, and it has a major footprint within North America. Previously, before serving as CEO, he served as Executive Vice President and General Counsel for NuStar, and most importantly, he's here with us this afternoon as the community leader and chair for the United Way campaign. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Barron, here with all of my colleagues for the Alamo Colleges District.
Dr. Flores, thank you for having me. Dr. Garcia, thank you for what you're doing. I really appreciate the opportunity to get to talk to y'all today. So starting off with all the thank yous. So I want to thank, like I said, both of you and your colleagues, and thank Alamo Colleges for your generous support of United Way throughout the years, and congratulate you on your support from last year. It's a big deal. It means a lot to this community. And then I want to thank the individual donors who stepped up last year and who will hopefully step up again this year. So, this is going to be a really challenging year for United Way and for everybody. United Way is a high-touch endeavor. At NuStar, I'm sure y'all probably do the same thing. You have a bunch of people together in a big room, and you build a lot of excitement. And, we have a bar and all kinds of music and things like that, and people go back and pledge. Now we're dealing with COVID and the separation, and it's difficult. And we've seen a little bit of the challenges today on this call. And so we're trying to figure it out. We're picking our way through it. We can't be together, but the important thing is not, technology and whether it works or whether it fails or whether we stumble when we're doing all this. The most important thing is that we will come together as a community to overcome whatever challenges are thrown at us. So back in March, I started the work as campaign chair, and my goal was to talk to each of the top 25 campaigns, the companies and organizations that make up the top 25 campaigns. And as I started those conversations, it was all about the challenges of COVID-19 and what it's done to our community. And it hit our community hard. And we knew at that point that there was going to be challenges coming in the fall for two reasons, actually three. One is the inability for people to get together. One is donor fatigue. And the other is just the need that's going to be coming at our United Way agencies. So I like to talk about it as a second wave is coming. It's not a second wave of COVID per se, but a second wave of need. So we had all that going on. And then what happened is COVID, along with the murder of George Floyd, really laid bare the racial and social inequities in our community. And the campaign changed at that point. The concerns that I heard from the companies and organizations that I talked to went from talking about COVID, which is important and supporting the community in that, but it's also how do we address some of these underlying inequities that are tremendously important in our community and that we need to address. And what I heard from a lot of people was, I want to help, but I don't know how to help. And it turns out, and you're going to hear a little bit about this later on in the presentation, but United Way undertook an effort to sort of revamp the way they support local agencies and determine who gets their support. And they did it through a thing they call the Issues Councils. And the overarching goal of the Issues Councils was to address intergenerational poverty. Okay, it's to make sure that people have access to prenatal care, that we have good preschool education, that our children are able to read on a third grade level by the time they get to third grade, that they can do eighth grade math by the time they get to eighth grade, and that they have opportunities beyond that. And that's what United Way is in the process of revamping all of its programs to meet those needs. And those things, I believe, will go a long way to addressing the root cause of some of the social inequity that we have, which is poverty, intergenerational poverty and lack of opportunity. I know that you all believe in change. You wouldn't be in education doing what you're doing if you didn't. And so I encourage you to support the United Way. The United Way, from what I've seen this last year and getting my hands, getting my hands on the meatloaf, is really the best positioned organization to help with that. So later on, we finished a video last night, and unfortunately it wasn't finished in time to get it to y'all, but it's a 6-minute YouTube video. And it really talks about what United Way is doing in San Antonio. It's very specific to our community, it's very specific to our needs, and it will walk you through what those issues councils are doing. And I keep bringing this up because, look, whenever we give money, we want to know that it's being effective. What we're doing is making a difference. And I think watching that video and actually hearing from some of the people here at Alamo colleges that are involved in United Way, you will know that your donations are actually making a difference. So those are all my comments. And again, I want to close by thanking you, congratulating you for a fantastic campaign last year, encouraging you to give until it feels good. I would actually go a little further, give until it hurts maybe, but hurts in a good way. And we need it this year. Our community has suffered some real blows, but I do think there's an opportunity for real change. And I think United Way, supporting United Way, is a great way to ensure real change in the community. So those are my prepared comments. I'll take any questions if anybody has any.
Actually, Mr. Barron, we actually do have a question for you and for Dr. Flores, if we can catch him back. I know he was on there you are. Thank you for your insights. It's very helpful to hear what's coming from your heart. But I guess I'd like to know, share with us one of your favorite stories of giving, and that could be your own experience, or what makes you give, if you could share that. What comes from the heart?
So I'll tell you my favorite stories of giving. I'm really fortunate to work for a man named Bill Greehey. Some of you may know him. Bill founded Valero. He founded my company. He's still chairman of the board in my company. And Bill's got the biggest heart of anybody I know. Bill founded Haven for Hope. And he's in the office every day. He doesn't work on NuStar business. He comes in working on Haven for Hope business. This guy was named the 8th greatest CEO of all time by Harvard Business Review. And he spends all of his time working on Haven for Hope. And so he walks through the campus, and it's like a rock star when you go there with him. People running up, giving him a high five, all that sort of stuff. And so Bill is a model for me in terms of giving. The other thing that Bill does, and that I've followed along and done, not to the same extent he has, but it's for me, it's very satisfying, is I'm a big believer in education. I went to Texas Tech. I'm still very involved with the administration at Texas Tech. And Bill has gone around to every college in the city and set up a scholarship for first-generation college students. And I think that has the potential to make a big difference in our city and in our country. And so I've followed along and done the same thing, not to the same extent, but to me, that's where I feel really good. It feels good to support something that you can see has an impact. I'll tell you one more story if you have a chance. So the other one, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about specific charities, but I'll tell you about Avance. If you go to Avance, it used to be run by a lady named Becky Cervantes. And when you would go there, there was just a warmth that surrounded you. But Avance's mission is to take people who are in the direst of poverty and poor circumstances, and to teach them how to be parents. And so they bring the mothers and the fathers in, and they teach them the importance of playing with their children, and how you don't have to have a lot of money, but you can make toys and you can engage with your babies, and you can give them a better opportunity in life. And to me, that's the kind of charity, and that's the kind of giving that has the potential to make a huge impact in our community, because those kids now have an opportunity at success that they didn't have. And now what they're seeing is Avance's been there long enough. They actually have a young man he and his mother graduated from Avance, and he's a vice president at one of the local banks. And so that has a ripple effect throughout our community. And so I'm really passionate about that kind of giving.
That was a great story. Thank you. It does come from the heart and it gets you excited. Dr. Flores, I know you're very passionate about Alamo Promise. Can you share one of your personal stories of why you give? Up, you're on mute. That's our 2020 quote. You're on mute.
Yes, I think one of the things that Brad mentioned, which is significant, is really Alamo Colleges and United Way being focused and aligned in impacting and ending generational poverty, right? And we know in Avance, or we know at Alamo Colleges, most importantly, that education and a credential will change the life of the individual, but most importantly, of the family. And so that's key. I think the other is that because we of the community, we know that individuals may definitely have the drive and want to get a credential, but they're confronted by so many challenges outside of the classroom. And we see that with food insecurity in particular. So I give to United Way. I think it's important for us to do that, right? And I give to Alamo Promise, and I give to a scholarship that I named in honor of my father, who worked for Alamo Colleges for close to 30 years, right, for first-generation college students. So I think those are critical. But what I'm most in awe of actually are my two daughters who bake cookies and sold them to family and friends, and actually have raised over $1,000 for the San Antonio Food Bank. And so although I give and we talk about it, I think what's most important is that we also teach the value of giving. And so they were able, although it was them, it was a family effort, but they did all the baking. My 8th grade daughter did all the calculations of how much it would be for supplies, how much she would make. And so she has raised over $1,000 that we're going to take this week to the food bank. And I think that's important. That's what giving back is all about, right? That as Dennis Gittinger said in his testimonial of giving and how critical giving is to give. So I think that is something that I'm just in awe of being able to do that. And they did that on their own accord, right? It wasn't a conversation or a prompt or anything. It was, I think, based upon what I see and what we've talked about at the dinner table, why it's important to give.
Well, I'll have to bring her in to help me out with some of this fundraising efforts. So those both were wonderful stories, and we're so grateful to hear these stories from two local leaders that are committed to lifting up our community. So this is your opportunity to give us one final thought that you'd like for everyone to hear one last time, Mr. Barron.
Sure, a couple of final thoughts. So I'm sure every United Way campaign chairman said this in the past, but this time it's really true. It's never been more important to give to United Way than this year. And your gift can have a tremendous impact with the changes that United Way has made. So I want to make that point. The other thing I want to say again is thank you all. Thank you for your past support and the support that I know you're going to give this year. And then also want to compliment you on the video that you started this with, the reasons to give. I thought that was a fantastic video, and those reasons to give are, I'd go back and watch it again. So that's all I have.
Well, thank you. Dr. Flores, any final thoughts?
Just want to thank everybody, all our colleagues, faculty, and staff for backing up our students. Thank you, Dr. Garcia. Thank you, Alamo College's Foundation team. We're all here professionally and personally because we want to make a difference. And we see that every day now virtually and sometimes on campus in the lives of our students and connecting with them. And they're here for a better life. United Way and the commitment of individuals is so folks can achieve their talents and pursue their passion. That's what education's about. Most importantly, that's what United Way is all about. So thanks you all for everything you do for us.
Well, thank you both. I really appreciate it. Now we're going to try to another video. So let's see how this works. But I do want to give a shout out because those videos, we will send them out to you all. Jessica, hold on. I will let you know that we will send out the other videos that you couldn't hear because they were important. And I want to thank the PR folks from the district and the colleges because they put a lot of effort behind that. So Jessica, why don't you go ahead and start Amanda Gorman's She was the national poet, and I think you're going to love this video.
It's hard to hope, hard to cope with crisis. But while we might be all alone, we've never been more tightly tethered, because we'll only weather this unknown together. So we get to work. We mend. We don't break even when we bend. Somewhere, another mom pays her bills. Somewhere, another child eats his fill. We are the world's neighbors, making our communities brighter, greater, fighting for every person in the neighborhood. We, the coming of the common good. So dare to care, to be hope-sighted. We're never divided, for when we live to give, we always live united.
Right, just love that video of Amanda. She did such a great job. Okay, so Jessica, if you can get us to the next slide. There we go. Yay, here we go. So there are many ways that you can impact, as we know, pledging a scholarship to one of the programs, one of the Alamo foundations, United Way, as Mr. Barron mentioned, as well as Dr. Flores. There are other United Way partner agencies. And of course, our top three is pledged to the arts funds of the Bexar County. So we tend to identify these. When you go into your ACES account, you'll be able to see these. And so I just kind of want to give you some little bit of points of where we're at. If you go to the next slide, I'm hoping that you can see this. So where are we? So as Dr. Flores mentioned, last year we had a 55% participation rate, which is record breaking for us. And that's what we want to break this year. We just want your participation. It doesn't matter how much you give. We just want that number to hit that 55, and we would like to break that number. Next slide, please. So last year, the highest participation rate, of course, went to NLC. They really worked really hard, but I will say Palo Alto gave me a run for my money, and Northwest Vista was right behind them. So they're already ahead so far. I won't give you any numbers. You'll have to wait for the emails, but I can say that both the Northwest Vista Wildcats and the PAC Palominos have headed out strong, and I'm going to have to do some work to catch them up. So last year we raised $68,000 from district support operations, and then the greatest average gift was $238, and that went out to St. Philip's College. And of course, the greatest increase in participation was Palo Alto. As I said, they were 79%, so they were only 5 percentage points behind me. So I expect them to not only catch up to me this year, but surpass me. So what are the top 5 funds that we have donated to? Jessica, if you go to the next slide, please. So our top fund that we donated to, I had a lot of questions of, well, where's all the money going to? What's the highest one that we've done? Well, of course, Alamo Promise, that's our chancellor's favorite one that he's been working so hard to try to raise money. We do want to make a change with the most neediest, and Alamo Promise is doing that. It's giving students the opportunity who would not have the opportunity to come on college from our designated high schools to come to Alamo colleges, and it's not going to be a low-cost tuition. Basically, we will, if they don't have enough funds to cover through their financial aid, the foundation comes in and covers that cost. So if you're interested, please, we would love to see that fund grow. Another growth, which I'm not surprised, is Dr. Lawston's Presidential Endowment continues to grow every year. And then SAC uses their fund, Where's the Most Need? Northwest Vista, their top was the food pantry, and then finally the Alamo College's Foundation Annual Fund. So those were our top 5, and of course NLC was on number 6, but we only wanted to show the top 5. So NLC, we didn't forget you. You guys are in there. We just went to the top 5. All right, next slide, please. So what are the top designated United Way partner agencies? For last year, our number 1 again was the Alamo College's Student Helpline that had the most contributions. And then of course, Catholic Charities, Children's Shelter, the United Way of San Antonio, St. Peter and St. Joseph's Children's Home, the Family Violence Prevention Services, the Food Bank, the Rape Crisis Center, and Meals on Wheels. And then Autism for Community Network. So we just wanted to give you an idea of where your money is going. Obviously, there's a lot more that we didn't list. If we listed them all, we would be here for at least another 10 minutes. But we just want to say thank you. Each of you that contributes to one of these foundations or one of these funds is making an impact into someone else's life. Okay, next slide. So, the impact, the Alamo College's Foundation awarded over $2 million in scholarships last academic year, which represents over 3,000 scholarships to 2,200 students. And we hear from students every day how this makes a difference in their lives, whether it's to buy books or pay for tuition or even help them out with room and board. Countless of students have been helped through the advocacy centers. That has drawn a lot of support from our community, and our students really appreciate having the advocacy center at each of the 5 colleges. And I know that there's a lot of need. They're helping with food insecurities. And I want to say thank you to all the Alamo employees that have gone out and helped us with providing those food boxes. We really appreciate. And then your support that you brought in. Some of you have not been able to donate, but you brought in household items, you brought in cans of food, you brought in some clothing. So every little bit helps. So I just want to say thank you. All right, next slide. So where are we at? Well, as Dr. Flores mentioned, last year we reached over 50%. We were so excited. We were, for the first time, a majority giving organization. And this year, we're already at 13%. So we only need 47% more and we'll reach that goal. And we have already raised $126,000. So we're definitely on the right path. We're moving. And I just want to say thank you for all those early birds that have already gotten your donations in. Next slide, please. So in these extraordinary times, the impact of your gift could be vital to someone in our community. A one-time $5 gift can feed a family of 4 through one of our advocacy centers. By pledging $5 a pay period, which is a whole total of $120, you will be able to help that family in need. If you can't give a one-time, we will take your payroll deduction. Our payroll team has been working very hard. Thank you to the payroll team. They, every month, every paycheck, will send your donation to the right location. So we just wanted to give you an idea what a difference $5 can make. Next slide. And you know me, I always like to attach something to something. $10, a one-time gift of $10 can provide a half a week meals for a senior citizen through Meals on Wheels. Right now with COVID, we have so many seniors that cannot even get to the grocery store. So this is their only meal. And by pledging a $10 per pay period, which is a total of $240, you will be able to provide food insecurity to that senior. So think of your grandparents, if that's all that they had, this is an impact that you can make in our community. Next slide. Now here's that $15 pizza. So with the $15 pizza that we could give up, that can be applied towards a scholarship to help a student pay for their education at one of the Alamo colleges or even their books. And by pledging $15 per pay period, that's a gift of a total of $360. And again, that will pay for a 3-hour course. So anything that you can give, $5, $10, $15 would be greatly appreciated. Next slide, please. And then finally, $21. A one-time $21 can help support and transform the Alamo Promise. By pledging $21 per period, it gives us a $504 total. You will truly be a partner to end poverty through education, and that's what we're here. We want to transform lives, and through education, we know that that can make a difference and give people the opportunities of families. One student that graduates from college can change the life trajectory of a family. Next slide, please. So during the Early Bird campaign, we asked our leadership to be among the very first, the power of giving. You know, I'm on that leadership team. And so I'm very excited to say, go ahead and go to the next slide. All of the members of the Alamo College's District Strategic Leadership Team have made their pledge for this year. So thank you, SLT. You've set the trend. You are the role models. I really appreciate it. They went in. Now, if they can go into ACES and make their pledge, you can make their pledge. That's how easy it is. And I'll go over about how to make that pledge later on. And I need to give a shout out to the district IT folks because they worked tirelessly to make that pledge process so easy. So I want to say thank you to the IT folks for making that happen. So with that, I think the next one, we're going to go ahead and introduce Dr. Alejandra. Dr. Alejandra, I'm already graduating to a PhD, Alejandra, so I have high hopes for you. So Alejandra, if you can join us, she is our former NLC student as well as our former trustee. And Alejandra and I go way back. And right, Alejandra? So I used to be with her every month. And as you can see, I have high aspirations for her. When she graduates from NLC, she's then transferring to one of the universities. And I see you continue to move on. So with that, Alejandra, why don't you share with us, what are your life aspirations that you and I have talked a lot, so I know them, but they don't know who you are. So tell us a little bit about your life aspirations.
Yes, ma'am. So one of my biggest life goals is to advocate for those without a voice. And one of the communities that I've decided to focus on are those of students with life skills and special needs. So with my education and such, I'm wanting to become a special needs teacher and be able to be that voice for those that really don't have a voice for themselves.
That's great. And I know that you do that already every day as when you were a trustee and when you were a student advocating for everyone else. So why don't you share with us, what are some of the challenges that you faced and how did you respond to those challenges?
So one big challenge that I faced was whenever COVID hit, and this was a big impact on many students as well as myself. And I had an issue where I wasn't able to pay for rent because family had lost their jobs because of COVID and there was no way to get the money together. And I was just scrambling to figure things out because I had a rhythm and a balance to everything that I was doing. And it honestly just came out of nowhere. And I was scared and crying and trying to figure out for myself, like, what am I going to do? But I also had to be this voice for students. And whenever COVID hit, we had announced the Student Impact Fund and the fact that students could apply to get that help that they needed. And I didn't think that I was going to actually use that myself. And I didn't even consider that an option for myself, honestly, because it was just a moment of panic. But I had a moment of clarity as I was telling other students about this great opportunity for them. I was like, hey, I'm one of these students that actually needs this. I never thought that I would be needing this for myself. So I went in and I filled out that application and I was able to get help with my rent. We were able to get that paid and we were able to keep security for myself and my family so that I could continue to go through school. I was a full-time student, so I needed that steadiness, and it was a big help for me and my family, and I'm so incredibly thankful for all of that help that I received.
And do you think that if you wouldn't have had that opportunity that you would have been able to finish your classes that semester?
I honestly don't think I would have been able to. I would have, I had some other bills and stuff that were just piling up. And so I didn't think that I was going to be able to finish without that kind of help. And it would have been incredibly difficult otherwise to figure that out.
Yeah, it's always a challenge. And I think that's the scary part is that many of our students, they're having this experience and they're panicking and they really don't know where to go. So I'm glad that you were aware of the Student Impact Fund, and I'm glad that you were able to share the Student Impact Fund because I think a lot of students aren't aware of it. So this has been helpful for you to share with us so that we can get the word out to others about what are some of the resources, because as you shared, it's a scary thing when you think, I don't know where I'm going to sleep and what's going to happen. I mean, classes are the last thing that are on your mind.
Absolutely.
What about your family? Were they surprised that you were able to provide this resource? What did they think when you said, listen, I have a solution?
We were scrambling everywhere to try to find something. And so as soon as I was able to kind of get my head on my shoulders and let them know that that opportunity was there, they were incredibly thankful. There was like happy tears, and we were like, we can try to at least get our footing in this trying time and try to figure out what we're going to do moving forward. And I even had the help from the colleges to help us get back on that track.
Well, good.
So for my
I'm glad things worked out for you and that you finished your classes, and I'm so proud of you, and I want you to keep moving forward. I look forward, as I said, I want that invitation from the university when you graduate, because I expect to see a graduation, and I will definitely be contacting you. So with that said, the next, we have door prizes. So I hear that Elsa Cantun and Lisa Romas are our first two winners. So congratulations to both of you. Richard Farias and Jessica Barnes have your names, and they will be sending you a very fun surprise. Give me a second. I'll find out what did you win, and I'll let you know in just a minute. And before we move on to the next slide, I want to make sure that I reiterate my thanks to the early bird campaigners. We couldn't have done it with you. You have really set the stage. As I said, we're already at 13% from our 55%. That is faster than we were last year. And we're at the $126,000 mark, and we raised 268. So we're definitely on track. So I appreciate everything that you're doing. And, ooh, I just found out what you guys won. So both Elsa and Lisa, and I'm gonna say Elsa, I know it's Elsa, but I'm gonna call you Elsa. Elsa, you guys won a signed autograph from this year's poster. So behind me is the heart. And so and I'll tell you a little bit about this artist. I know there's one in here about the artist. Where'd she go? About this year's artist who put this poster together. I think if you go to the next slide, oh, you know what? Go back to the leadership one, Jessica, because that's where the heart is. So the artist that put this together is Gio Di Zurita. She is a Mexican-American artist who was introduced to the world at a very young age. And Gio describes her inspiration for this piece as, at first glance, you can see the colorful heart that is painted in the middle of the canvas. And the closer you get in, the closer you zoom in, the more you stare at the heart, the more that you see. This comes from the idea that we are a community, and that our community meets the eye more than at first glance. We're a community full of little pieces that build the great city of San Antonio. So as you start to see, you can see the Alamo, you can see the church, you can see the steps, and it's a beautiful piece. This poster will be coming in, and you will get a signed poster. So for the first two, that's what you get. Congratulations, ladies. All righty, so I lost my place. Where are we, Jessica? District-wide. So we can't do this by myself. I'm here, I'm doing this presentation, but there is a legion of people that are behind me that are working at the colleges, at the district, Richard Farias Foundation. And I wanted to make sure that you know who you can contact from your prospective team. So for the district, it's Richard Farias and Cindy Sullivan, as well as Maya Thomas from the foundation. For NLC, it's Rudy Farias and Patrick Murray. For NBC, it's Dr. Lisa McGoldrick, and she has been on fire. Midalia Garcia for NBC. For PAC, your team is Helena Fisher and Leticia Inconicio. And from SPC is Brian Chase, who's been doing this for many years, Lauren Sulin, and Shantae Davis. So thank you to this team. They've been great. They've been meeting with me every other week, talking about planning and putting these together. So give them a pat on the back, because it's not an easy thing to ask people for money. And so they do this because they're trying to make a difference, and they're trying to make a difference not only in their community, but for their college. So thank you and these are the people that you will reach out. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier with the IT folks. They made pledging so easy. It's a single sign-on. All you need to do is go to your ACES account, then click the employee tab, and then you'll see that web services box. Right underneath is where you click on the back, and you'll see the graphic of the employee giving campaign. And when you click that graphic, it'll take you straight there. So with that said, that's how easy it is. And I hear that we have, let's see, hold on. We have 2 more prizes, and then we're going to introduce Dr. Aleman, who's going to share with us a little bit about United Way. So let's see, where's that slide? And I apologize, with this technology, we kind of went off script. So we're doing a little ad lib here. So Dr. Aleman, where are you? I know I have some information on you somewhere. Here we go. So he's from the United Way. He definitely he's the director of the Strong Individuals and Family Impact Council of the United Way of San Antonio and Bexar County. And we're proud to say that Dr. Aleman is a former student. God, everybody's graduated from San Antonio College. So SAC, here is another proud alumni who's doing great work. He currently is an adjunct instructor in social work at SAC. So not only is one of you a proud alumni, he also works for SAC. So with that, I'd like to turn over the presentation to Dr. Aleman, who has a few words to share with us. Dr. Aleman, Jason Aleman, where are you?
Right here. Thank you, Dr. Garcia. Thank you to the Board of Trustees, to Dr. Flores, presidents of each college. I appreciate the time and the effort that y'all are put forth today. As Dr. Garcia said, in the spring of 2000, 20 short years ago, I walked into Chance Academic Center to take a world civilization class with Dr. John Lee as my professor. He was young, he was brilliant. He told stories of the Roman Empire, of the Tokugawa shogunate. He told stories of world wars and world religions. What Dr. Lee didn't know at the time was that I was 23 years old, the father of a 3-year-old boy, completely broke without a penny to my name. He couldn't have known that there were times that I walked into his class hungry. There just wasn't enough food to go around my house, and I always made sure that my baby ate first. At that time, I was both literally and figuratively hungry for more. What Dr. Lee did most during our 2 semesters together was that he believed in me. He encouraged me to find my own story and to write it. I remember in the middle of that spring semester walking out of class at the same time as he, and he nonchalantly said to me, "You can write, you should keep doing it." His belief in me and those simple words were all I needed to shoot for the stars. I was a student of Dr. Lee's in both World Civ classes, and then moved on to UTSA. When I graduated from there with my bachelor's, I wanted to find him somehow and tell him thank you, but I didn't. When I went on to get my master's at UT in Austin, I wanted to find him and tell him what he meant to me, but I didn't. It wasn't until I successfully defended my dissertation at the end of my PhD program that I mustered up the courage to attempt to find him. Much to my surprise and utter delight, I found Dr. Lee right where I left him 15 years earlier. He was still at SAC. So I wrote him an email detailing much of what I'm sharing with you today, not really expecting for him to remember me or to reply to the email. I just wanted him to know what he meant to me and the role that he played in my journey. What I can tell you is that that email sparked a friendship and a sense of camaraderie that I wouldn't give up for the world. Dr. Lee, and yes, even though we're still friends, he'll always be Dr. Lee to me, is the ultimate personification of what is good about Alamo colleges. And I know there are many other Dr. Lees on this call today. What I want to share with you today is that what you do here matters, And although they might not tell you, you change the lives of students. You change the lives, as Dr. Flores said, of their families. As fate would have it, as part of my work now at United Way, I oversee an investment designated to the Alamo colleges that has created the student hotline. Through this hotline, students in need can call and seek any and every type of assistance: food assistance, help with basic needs, mental health services. This is all available to the Alamo College students, and I get the honor of being a small part of this work that benefits your students. I'd like to personally thank Sheila Marlowe-Dew, Deborah Martin, Maya Rivarola for their continued work on the hotline. The services I once needed as a student are now available to students that now sit in my class. As Dr. Garcia said, yes, I'm also an adjunct professor at SEC, teaching in the same classrooms at Chance that I used to sit in as a student. The personal, professional, and academic connections at play here are absolutely insane. A few short months ago, racial justice became the second identified pandemic of 2020 with the murder of George Floyd. And yes, it's important that we say their names: George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Sandra Bland, Eric Garner, Rayshard Brooks, and the millions who have died at the hands of racial injustice. But it was back in 2018, 2019, when United Way of San Antonio made racial equity a pillar of our efforts. We knew then that Black and brown women, the mothers that raise our community, are paid pennies on the dollar for the same work done by white men. Part of my work at United Way is addressing this directly. We have a wage equity campaign that seeks to shine a light on this travesty. We also fund workforce development opportunities for women of color who are seeking to earn higher wage in the fields of their choice. August 22nd, 2020, just a few weeks ago, was a Black Women's Equal Pay Day. This day marks the day into the year of which it takes a Black woman on average to earn what a white male earned in 2019 alone. Almost an extra 9 months of work to make what he made in 2019. For Latinas, that day is November 20th. Think about it, having to work twice as hard for twice as long to make the same amount of what a male makes. Each day of my work, I can't help but think of my abuelita, who broke her back in the fields while raising 7 children with little financially to show for it. I think of my mother, who as a little girl fought to change the educational system for little girls such as herself. This work to me is not work. Rather, it's an obligation to my mother and to my abuelita, a promise I made to them to fight for families just like ours. Those women of color working to put food on the table so their children can go to school, get a good education, have it better than they did. When you give to United Way, this is where your money goes. The effect of COVID-19 has been felt by all of us, and will continue to feel the after effects for the foreseeable future. These effects are being felt by the women of color that we speak of. Mothers, again, trying to put food on the table, many who are out of work, yet still trying to navigate virtual learning with their children, making sure that everyone in the house is okay as okay as they can be. They're juggling more balls in the air than I could ever imagine. So today, I'm here with you, my colleagues at Alamo Colleges. First, to thank you for your continued support of United Way. And I ask you in the most humblest way possible to give all you can. And please know that I'm fully aware that we're in the midst of the most unimaginable year possible. It's not lost on me that I'm asking you to give when many of you may have needed assistance yourself due to health concerns, a missed paycheck, uncertainty of what the future holds. As I think back before that spring semester in 2000, 20 years ago, I remember working at Best Buy making minimum wage for the 4 previous years before that. Each year, a United Way representative would walk in, talk to us, show us a sad video, and ask us to give. At that time, there was nights that I couldn't even put food on the table for myself, much less give to the needy. I was the needy. Yet there was a pride at that time in giving $2 a paycheck to give to other San Antonians in need. And now, today, I'm here on Zoom asking you to give whatever you can. Maybe, just maybe your dollar will go to the young, struggling person who will one day in the distant future give the exact same speech that I'm giving you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Those were very powerful words. We appreciate it. And thanks to your abuelita and your mom who raised a very proud young man. And we're very proud of the work that you've done, and SAC for all the work that they've done. And Dr. Lee, clearly you had a very good network of support that have really got you to this stage. And so I just want to say thank you from the heart. That's not an easy thing to share. And the fact that you shared your vulnerability with us is greatly appreciated. So I get choked up. It's hard to move on to this part, Dr. Aleman. You just got me all confused here, but thank you for sharing. We appreciate that. Okay, so I hear we have more posters to give out. So Lauren Salujan and Corina Vera are also winners. And Richard, I guess, got a whole bunch more because he just sent me that we can give out more posters. So the last two names are Dahlia Wallace and Bill Mosley. So congratulations. All of you will be receiving signed posters from the artist. They're beautiful. I'm excited that you're going to get them. We will have those delivered through you via email. Via mail. So look for those soon. Richard, are those the final? Do we have more names or are we good now? That's it. Okay, we gave them all away. So with that said, if we can go to the last slide, I want to say thank you. This was our first virtual, and of course, it didn't go with, it went out with a few bumps, but thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking through us through the very end. For those of you that lasted to the very end, I appreciate. And again, I'd like to thank everyone who has given so far. Your pledges mean a lot to us. And with that, be safe. I look forward to seeing some of you. Take care and have a wonderful week. And thank you, Jessica and Richard and Dr. Flores and Mr. Barron and Jason Aleman and everybody who was here today. And Alejandra, I love you and I look forward to seeing you. And remember, I want that graduation. So with that said, goodbye and good evening.